Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, and a big thank you to everyone who has left ratings and reviews to this podcast. Ironically, every day I champion how new emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and their transformative qualities on this daily tech podcast. But that same technology can also prevent new listeners from finding this podcast. In a nutshell, if a rating, a review, or new subscriber, or any of those kind of actions occur, the algorithm says everything must be going good with that podcast and allows it to move up the rankings a little. But if you get none of them, it kind of disappears from searches or gets deprioritised, should I say. So as I prepare to go into battle with these algorithms, can I now ask that in return for recording daily interviews, that you leave a very quick rating or review? Because Apple Podcasts in particular also split every review or rating into countries. And a quick look at the US store today revealed that I'm 4 reviews from hitting the big 100. So if you are listening to this in the US and you're on an iPhone, this is officially your call to action. You could be the person that makes me hit the big 100 reviews in the US. But if you do leave one, please remember, send me an email, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or Twitter @NeilCHughes, and let me know that you've done it, just so I can give you a nice friendly shout out. But you didn't tune in to hear a Brit begging for podcast ratings and reviews, did you? Of course you didn't. So let's get back down to business. And today I want to talk about Voicea, which is a voice collaboration platform that is launching a new offering to help you attend fewer meetings. And anyone that has spent any time in corporate land will know just what a big deal that is. And the one thing that I do not miss is meetings, especially meetings to discuss meetings. Don't get me started. So Voicea is attempting to solve all those problems, and it's powered by an enterprise voice assistant named Eva. And Eva uses AI to highlight key takeaways in meetings and create actionable recaps in real time with either voice command, live tap on the dashboard, or simply powered by the AI and your keywords that you set. And Eva can also join conference lines, on calls, in person via an app, and actually just allowing meeting goers to focus on the conversation, knowing that the highlights are automatically being captured. The end goal, of course, is to turn talk into action and have smarter meetings to help users get more accomplished at work. Well, that was more than enough to get me on board, so buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to California so we can speak with Omar, and he's the founder and CEO at Voicea, and he's going to tell us why this technology is such a game changer for businesses. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yes, good morning. My name is Omar Tawakol. I'm the CEO of Voicea, and we built an enterprise voice assistant that helps make your workday, particularly your meetings, much more productive so that you just speak and there are actions and takeaways that you can share with others.
Now, Voicea is a voice collaboration platform that is launching a new offering to help people attend fewer meetings, which is something that we all would love to embrace. But, can you tell me more about the story behind it? Was it one too many meetings that tipped you over the edge? What kind of problems inspired Voicea?
So, before this, I was running a company called Blue Kai. It was acquired by Oracle, and it became the Oracle Data Cloud. And from that position, I had the privilege of meeting with great leaders. I met with people like Satya, who's running Microsoft, Larry Ellison, of course, at Oracle, Sir Martin Sorrell, a whole bunch of really good leaders. And the interesting thing about them is I'd be in a meeting with them if it was 1 hour or it's 2 hours. They were looking at you the whole time. They were engaging with you the whole time. They didn't have their laptop open, supposedly taking notes and then being distracted by like email and Facebook updates. They were with you, completely present. I even had an experience with one of them where they left the meeting with me, and they're running like a huge company, one of the biggest companies in the world. They leave the meeting with me, and within an hour and a half, there's an email in my inbox with the follow-ups and the takeaways and having their lieutenants, take the next steps. And what was embarrassing is they actually beat me in terms of speed of follow-up. So I was inspired by this idea of democratizing the executive behavior of some of the best leaders in the world, who generally had, an army of assistants around them, even if they're not all really an army of assistants, but they had people on their team that were helping make their life smoother. So I thought we could democratize that by doing the things that allowed you to elevate and kind of be the best executive you could.
Now, we did highlight a few of the problems there, and I think we can all relate to the kind of stories that we both mentioned. But how is Voicea actually tackling these problems head on, and what makes it unique from all the other solutions out there?
Yeah, so the first problem that we tackle head on is do the exact opposite of what technology has done for the last decade. I have 4 daughters. You go out to eat, and everybody is got their head planted in the phone. Look at Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook. And so we create a phone pile and say, hey, let's focus on the conversation. So we're trying to do the same thing at work, which is to say, let the technology do the capturing of what's going on so that we have your back and you could just focus on the people and focus on the conversation, have a much richer set of time. So that's the first thing that we do. The second thing we do is say, look, you're not going to go to 5 hours of meetings and then come back later and read 5 hours of transcripts. So we try to help you get to the moments that matter so you can very quickly leave a meeting and do the follow-ups for you. So that kind of idea that you can spend an amount of time, focus, get something out of it, and then we will automatically update your workflow systems for you and share it with the other people in the meeting for you just takes a huge load off your back so that you can get more out of the time you do spend.
And if we would take a quick look under the hood, Voicea is also powered by an enterprise voice assistant named Eva. And Eva uses AI to highlight key takeaways in meetings and creates actionable recaps in real time with either voice command, a live tap on the dashboard, or simply powered by the AI and your keywords. But can you tell me a little bit more about the technology behind it and also how the software works, if you could just walk me through that?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing we have under the hood here is kind of a keyword spotter, a system that listens to your speech and figures out when to wake up and take an action. So similar to the way you go into your kitchen and you say, Alexa, play a song, here you would walk in here and you'd say, okay, Eva, take a note so that we can answer these questions carefully. Thanks, Eva. And so, you give voice commands.
Created a note.
Like as you see right there, you give voice commands to it. The next set of technology is an automatic speech recognition engine, and we have several of them that all specialize in different types of kind of different sets of expertise so that we could raise the accuracy of any text that comes out of a voice interaction. That's very important. The next step under that is natural language processing to have some sort of idea, now that it's text, what do I do with this text? Is this something that needs to update Salesforce? Is this something that sets out by email? Is this something that gets on my Trello or Asana board as a task? And then the last thing that we add to that is some intent recognition to say, hey, this was a piece of text, but let me look into it and say, did you actually just ask me to schedule the next meeting next week with all 3 participants at 3 p.m.? Okay, great, I'll do it, and I'm going to go in your calendar and do it. So that's kind of the set of techniques that work together to deliver this kind of translation of text into action.
And Voicea also recently rolled out Teams, which completely blows open the collaborative nature of the platform and helps meeting goers think like senior executives. But can you tell me more about that and also why you're so excited about those features?
Yeah, so one of the interesting things you find about meetings is that sometimes there's a whole set of people who just show up because they think there might be this 2-minute period where they're going to get asked a question or there's some information reveal. And so they sit there with the laptops open working. They're really not participating. And they're spending an hour because maybe something might happen. So that's one problem.
I've been in those meetings just waiting for that one moment where I need to contribute.
That's right. And then there's a second type of thing that happens is, you're selling, your team is selling to another customer, and not everybody could be there. And so, you come back from the meeting and you try to give them a sense of what happened. You have this long conversation, tell them what they have to do, and they ask you questions. Well, did they really say this or did they say that? And so we tried to solve both of those problems. We call it meeting FOMO, fear of missing out. And we say you don't have to have it anymore. You don't have to have that fear. You just take Evo with you, and then the key moments can be shared with the people who weren't at the meeting. And it creates this continuity for them. Within 2 minutes, they understand exactly what happened in the meeting. And in addition, for those people who had FOMO, who were just kind of going to the meeting just in case, they no longer need to. We're not telling you not to go to meetings. Absolutely go to meetings. Absolutely engage, but only go to the meetings where you will engage and add value and save yourself the time, and then use Eva's output to help you get up to speed very quickly.
And what I think is particularly exciting is Eva can join conference lines, as we discussed, but also on calls. You can record via an app or in person, allowing meeting goers to actually focus on the conversation, knowing the highlights are being captured automatically. But do you have any use cases that you can share just to illustrate how it has actually helped your clients and transformed how they're doing things?
Yeah, absolutely. So we see a lot of project managers, program managers, product managers, people who really have to focus on coordinating with lots of people and spend a lot of time in meetings. They'll use it, and sometimes while they're in the meeting, they will be automatically adding things to their Trello board, adding a card or a story or a task to the system. So before everybody even leaves the meeting and heads back to their desks, they've already updated the project management system with the agreements. So kind of saves them a lot of time, hours of time every week, spending doing all the follow-up. A lot of that's done, before they even hit their desk. Also, we've seen our users have 77% of our users say that their follow-up has markedly increased and improved, because now they're able to spend a few minutes after a meeting, mark a few highlights, make sure it gets shared to everybody, and that continuity is there, and they do it much more quickly.
So for someone listening to this podcast right now, and just as another meaningless time-sucking meeting has hit their inbox, and they sit in the meeting, and just before it begins, they say, I've just heard a podcast, and meetings don't have to be this way. Can you give me a bit of a future vision of how you see the future of meetings, or should I say the future of smart meetings?
Yeah, absolutely, the future of smart meetings. So the first thing is just the hygiene is going to be better. You walk into a meeting, you can clearly identify the agenda. You can make sure only the people who need to be there are there. You can make sure that after you leave a meeting, the actions and decisions are documented, they're clear, they're shared, and they're registered in the systems within which you work, so that there is a very clear sense of continuity. The rest of the team can then search through those meeting results and very quickly find what they want. And in addition to that, you can start to get more of an enterprise view. So if you think about meetings, they represent the largest untapped data asset any corporation has. It's kind of the next area that you'd look at as a corporation. And so if we can structure that data and activate that data, you can be far more intelligent as an organization in terms of understanding your customers and trends and issues, in terms of understanding what's going on in your company and how you manage it.
So what's next for Voicea? Is there anything else you can share with me today about the road ahead and your big goals and ambitions for the year and beyond, of course?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one is we're always looking at increasing accuracy of what you said, increasing the understanding of your particular acronyms that are outside of normal vocabulary, so out of vocabulary words. We're looking at better understanding the accents that people have in different parts of the world, adding more languages, being better at separating out, Diane said this versus Omar said that, so that when we update workflow, we're able to say, Diane assigned this to Omar. All that stuff is very actively rolling out improvements. And then what we want to do is open up our APIs even more than they are today, so that people can build their own voice commands on top of us. So you have kind of a marketplace of commands being built for the enterprise specifically.
So I think so much of what you've talked about today is something that will resonate with every single person listening. I think we've all experienced those bad meetings, but it doesn't have to be that way. So if anybody is interested in finding out more information and maybe pitching it to their own workplace, can you just remind the listeners of where they can find you online, and also maybe contact a member of your team if they've got any questions?
Absolutely. Just go to voicea.com. That's spelled voice with an A at the end. And there you can sign up for a free account and start to use it. We'd be glad to do a demo. You can ask for a demo on the site. You can go to the App Store and download the Voicea app, also for free. And also from there you can ask for a demo. So we'd love to speak with you. We'd love to engage with you and help you succeed.
And just for the listeners, before we had the podcast today, we did go through a bit of a live demo. And I must admit, after over 750 interviews with businesses all over the world, this technology really, really excites me. And hopefully, the days where you see people sat in meetings physically writing their notes on a notepad only to go out and type it up, if we can eradicate that once and for all, we're heading in the right direction. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on and sharing that story with me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Despite my desperate pleas earlier about asking for reviews and ratings for this podcast, I really agree with today's guest. We're missing the boat unless we start paying attention to artificial intelligence. And Voicea recently rolled out Teams, which blows open this collaborative nature of the platform. And like I said in the podcast, it recently rolled out Teams. And for me, this really blows open the collaborative nature of the platform and help meeting goers actually think like senior executives and choose the meetings to attend and automatically gain highlights from the others that they don't. Essentially, Teams makes meetings a structured data asset that can be accessed by entire teams. And this enables others who didn't attend to benefit from the ideas and the discussions and finally get rid of that FOMO around meetings too. And I love the idea that you never leave a meeting unclear on what happens next. So bearing in mind everything we've talked about today and everything that we've learned, would you consider letting Voicea connect the action items and key takeaways to your team using either the in-meeting voice assistant, who will just capture everything automatically? No more writing notes, no more face down into a laptop. Just focus on everybody in the room and gaining those valuable insights that you can refer to later. What are your thoughts on the platform and also the global disdain towards meetings? Is your organisation thinking about tackling this problem? And if so, how? I'd love to know more about everything that you're experiencing and the kind of insights and how you're overcoming these challenges, and if you are interested in trying Voicea. As always, I'm the easiest man in the world to get hold of. You can get me on email, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter @NeilCHughes, and equally Instagram. If you want to see some silly pics and different ways for me to share the podcast, there's a whole heap of things going on there, including photos from my travels, and that's just @NeilCHughes too. So thanks so much for allowing me to join you on your daily grind, your commute, and maybe even the soundtrack to your life. And remember, if you do need anything at all, you know where to find me. But I'll return tomorrow. I've got another guest lined up for you already. So all that's left for me to say is a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.